This is BRICS Global Television Network's Daily Roundup, and we begin with the headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi begins his third term. Chinese students wait anxiously for their Gaokao results after grueling examinations. In Saudi Arabia, security forces have removed hundreds of thousands of unregistered pilgrims from Mecca ahead of the upcoming Hajj. And Russia's St. Petersburg International Economic Forum 2024 has witnessed the signing of nearly 1,000 deals and contracts. Hello, I'm Juliet Newell. We begin in India, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has begun his third term. But it's not the government he'd hoped for. Election results that fell short of expectations, necessitating coalition partnerships for governance. Despite his Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party's decade-long outright rule, this election saw a departure from the previous landslide victories, prompting Modi to engage in swift negotiations with a 15-member coalition named the National Democratic Alliance to secure parliamentary support. In a formal ceremony, Modi, accompanied by senior BJP figures and coalition leaders, pledged allegiance to the Indian Constitution on Sunday as he took the oath, adorned in a white kurta and blue waistcoat. The presidential palace steps were lined with guards of honor, while crowds gathered to witness the occasion. Leaders from neighboring South Asian countries attended, yet notable absentees included top officials from China and Pakistan, signaling diplomatic tensions. Meanwhile, some of India's who's who attended Prime Minister Narendra Modi's swearing-in ceremony, including Bollywood star Shah Rukh Khan, along with business magnates Gautam Adani and Mukesh Ambani, prominent allies of Modi. But eyes shifted from the stars to the lawmakers taking their oaths, serving as a barometer of the forthcoming government's composition. Modi's yet to announce his cabinet. These included Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, Nitin Gadkari, and held significant portfolios in the previous administration. H.D. Kumaraswamy of Janata Dal was the 10th to be sworn in, representing the BJP's coalition partners. Larger coalition members negotiated substantial concessions for their support, evident in the allocation of cabinet positions, with reports suggesting significant roles for allies like the Telugu Desam Party and the Janata Dal. Modi is expected to balance partners' demands while retaining key ministries. The composition of Modi's previous cabinet, which included 81 ministers, sets the backdrop for expectations regarding the new administration structure. In Kashmir, a bus carrying a group of pilgrims travelling to Shiv Khori temple in the Riasi district has plunged into a gorge, killing at least 10 and injuring scores more. It's reported the bus came under fire from alleged terrorists. Our India correspondent S. Venkat Narayan has that story.
At least 9 people, including a child, were killed and 33 others injured in India's Jammu and Kashmir last evening, when armed terrorists attacked a bus ferrying passengers from one shrine to another. The attack took place at 10 minutes past 6 p.m. Police and the villagers evacuated the injured to nearby hospitals. The police said this is a terrorist attack and launched a massive operation to catch the terrorists. India abrogated Jammu and Kashmir's special status to integrate the Muslim majority region into Hindu majority India, where 200 million Muslims live. Since the abrogation of the special status, there has been a marked decline in armed violence, terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. Despite heavy military presence, the terrorists do manage to mount such massive operations once in a while to grab global attention. S. Venkat Narayan, BGTN, New Delhi, India.
In China, millions of high school students are waiting anxiously for their Gaokao results. More than 13.4 million registered this year, setting the highest number of students taking the highly competitive exam in the country's history. It's the world's most difficult entrance exam used for admission to colleges and universities. School students' academic skills are tested on several subjects, including Chinese, English, maths, science and humanities, all of which are critical for gaining entrance to varsity. The exams will determine the future of millions of people in a country where job opportunities are dwindling and the expectations of parents are impossibly high. There's also the added pressure of a struggling economy as China battles to achieve a post-pandemic recovery. All of this considered, one would be forgiven for wondering about students cheating. Well, there have been many attempts in previous years, but education authorities are on high alert, and the areas around testing centres are also controlled, with authorities diverting traffic, and hooting is prohibited to ensure distractions are kept to a bare minimum. And in Saudi Arabia, security forces have removed hundreds of thousands of unregistered pilgrims from Mecca ahead of the upcoming Hajj, set to begin on Friday. Crowd control remains a significant concern during this annual Islamic pilgrimage, which attracted over 1.8 million Muslims last year. The Saudi press agencies reported that among those turned away from Mecca were just under 154,000 foreigners who entered the country on tourist visas instead of Hajj visas, along with around 172,000 individuals living in Saudi Arabia without residency in Mecca or Hajj permits. The Hajj, starting on June the 14th, is mandatory for financially capable Muslims and entails several days of rituals in Mecca and surrounds. Due to the high costs and limited quotas for official pilgrimages, many seek unofficial channels to complete the rites. The kingdom derives significant revenue from the Hajj and other pilgrimages throughout the year, enhancing its prestige as a custodian of the two holy mosques. Concerns over crowd safety, exemplified by the 2015 stampede, have prompted Saudi officials to intensify efforts to control unauthorized pilgrimages. Mecca's regional authorities reported over 1.3 million registered pilgrims arriving for the Hajj as of Saturday. And Saudi Arabia has declared the sighting of the Dhul Hijjah crescent, marking the commencement of the esteemed Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah. This month holds significant religious importance in the Islamic calendar, with the sighting of the crescent. Eid al-Adha is scheduled to be observed on June the 16th. Arafat Day is set for June the 15th. In Russia, a Moscow court has ruled to detain Laurent Venatier, a French citizen accused of gathering Russian military intelligence, until at least August the 5th. Venatier, affiliated with a Swiss conflict mediation NGO, faces charges under Russia's foreign agents law, carrying a potential 5-year jail term. During the court proceedings, Venatier admitted to the accusations and expressed remorse, acknowledging his guilt. The prosecution asserts that Venatier collected military information detrimental to Russia for foreign entities, citing Russian legislation mandating registration as a foreign agent for such activities. Venatier, an advisor with the Geneva-based Center for Humanitarian Dialogue, is renowned for his research on Russia and other post-Soviet nations. Despite calls for his release from the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue and French President Emmanuel Macron, Venatier remains detained. This incident highlights a pattern of detaining Western citizens in Russia, raising concerns over political motivations and potential prisoner exchanges, particularly following the recent arrest of a Russian-Ukrainian individual in France. Coming up, BRICS Plus Business. The Kruger National Park, an area of beauty, the custodian of most of Africa's rhino population, a park of breathtaking nature, but also an area of horror.
only on BGTN.
I have no idea who this guy is. Absolutely no idea. He's not me. I am Ray White. This guy, is a deep fake.
So, as you can see, the BRICS nations have done very well with space exploration, boldly going where no man has gone before. Gosh, it's lovely being in space, isn't it?
Catch me, Ray White, on Building Business One Brick at a Time, your BGTN business show that'll keep you in the know about what's happening in the world of business across BRICS, right here on BGTN.
We begin in Russia, where the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum has been taking place. And the theme for this year's forum is the basis of a multipolar world, formation of new growth points. The keynote address was delivered by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We see how there's a real race between countries for strengthening its sovereignty at three key levels: state, value, cultural and economic. At the same time, the countries who until recently acted as leaders of global development are trying to, by hook or by crook, to preserve their elusive role.
Despite facing Western sanctions, Russia continues to play a significant role in global trade and is undergoing active development. As per the World Bank, the Russian economy has now ranked fourth in terms of its consumer purchasing power parity.
На этих основаниях гармонично. И Россия, безусловно, будет частью этого многополярного.
We will build our policy on these foundations, and Russia will certainly be part of this multipolar, harmonious world, and it's natural for us that we will rely on European principles and will to rely on other people's. This unity is our strength.
Будем относиться и к культуре и традициям других народов Российской Федерации. В этом единстве наша сила.
Meanwhile, on the sidelines of the forum, BRICS healthcare regulatory authorities have held discussions centered on the December 2023 Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in Medical Product Regulation. Participants highlighted the shared challenges in public health among BRICS nations, aiming to enhance cooperation in regulatory practices, clinical trials, and combating substandard products. Plans to establish a joint working group and association of BRICS regulators have been outlined, gaining support during the Drug Security in BRICS country session. Additionally, an open meeting between regulatory authorities and pharmaceutical companies showcased national requirements and opportunities for product export and import. This marked the first joint effort to identify avenues for cooperation in pharmaceutical markets within and beyond BRICS. All in all, this year's forum has certainly yielded results. Russian presidential advisor Anton Kubyakov, also the executive secretary of the SPF Organizing Committee, reported that the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum witnessed the signing of nearly 1,000 deals and contracts, amounting to over $71.87 billion. In Saudi Arabia, oil giant Aramco has reported that international investors had secured most of the shares in its recent offering, aiming to raise $11.2 billion. The company disclosed that most shares in the institutional tranche were allocated to investors outside the kingdom, indicating strong international interest. It's understood approximately 58% of the shares went to international investors, a significant increase from the 23% in the company's 2019 initial public offering. Notably, around 70% of orders from foreign markets originated from the European Union and the United States, with additional interest from Japan, Hong Kong and Australia. Saudi Aramco's secondary offering, comprising just over 1.5 billion shares, was anticipated to bolster Saudi Arabia's finances amid expansive economic reforms and ambitious projects like NEOM. Despite pricing the offering at $7.27 per share at the lower end of the announced range, Aramco's market capitalization remains substantial at around $1.83 trillion. In China, Xu Caihua, a senior executive at a major state-backed investment firm, is under investigation for suspected corruption. This as officials carry out a sweeping crackdown on graft within the finance industry. Xu, vice president of China's CITIC Group, faces allegations of serious disciplinary and legal violations, as stated by the Communist Party's Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. CITIC Group, a colossal state-run conglomerate, boasts assets exceeding $1.5 trillion, according to its official website. Xu, a seasoned economist specializing in overseas acquisitions and restructuring, has held a prominent position on the firm's executive committee since 2019. Under President Xi Jinping's leadership, China's maintained a relentless campaign against corruption, viewed by some as a means to promote transparent governance, while others perceive it as a tool for eliminating political adversaries. The financial sector, including banking, insurance and state-owned enterprises, has become a primary focus of anti-graft efforts. Up next, BRICS Plus Sports Daily Roundup with Yolanda Pondo.
Coming soon on BRICS Global Television.
What was your moment in prison when you were like, I don't want to do this anymore?
I was 21 years old when I took my first life in prison. I had 1 star on my shoulder. By the age of 25, I became the first star general of the 28s, meaning that I had 4 stars on both my shoulders. I had taken 8 people's lives.
I think you should watch BGTN Daily because it's the best. I'm glad you didn't knock that over. I'm Ava. I think, no, that. Hi, it's the best. Because it's the best. Because it's the best. Because it's the best.
How do you argue with that? BRICS Global Television, it is the best.
The Art of Africa goes jazz. South Africa has given rise to a number of jazz artists, from trumpeter Hugh Masekela to pianist Abdullah Ibrahim and vocalist Gloria Bosman and Sibongile Khumalo. Their uniquely South African strain of jazz has become an essential thread in the international jazz fabric. The latest torchbearer of that sound is Nduduzo Makhathini, a pianist and composer whose albums have made him a leading voice in African jazz. Not only is he a jazz artist, but Makhathini embodies the roles of teacher and historian.
Hello, I'm Yolanda Pondo with your BRICS Plus Sports updates. In FIFA World Cup qualifier news, Bafana and Nigeria played to a 1-1 draw at a packed Godwill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, Nigeria on Friday night. Temba Zwane scored in the first half, but Fisayo Dele Bashiru equalized, resulting in a shared outcome for both nations. Lesotho leads Group C with 5 points following the draw between the heavyweight contenders. Bafana holds the 4th position behind Rwanda and Benin, securing a valuable point away from home. Nigeria sits in 5th place, positioned above bottom-placed Zimbabwe. Joining me to chat about what's next for Bafana is our BGTN sports correspondent, Ben Ricotso. Ben, thank you for joining me.
Much appreciated.
Ben, before we get to the next game, what are your thoughts on this past weekend's match?
Look, the past weekend's game against Nigeria, what can I say? One of the biggest team in Africa, in West Africa, Nigeria, the Super Eagles. Most of the people on paper were expecting Bafana Bafana to lose this one, including myself. I thought there was no way out for Bafana Bafana in Nigeria. On paper, Nigeria looked very good. They've got players like Lokman, who's playing for Atalanta. They're playing very well. When you look at the whole Nigerian team, almost 100% they're playing outside Nigeria. And you look at Bafana Bafana with the local team. I was expecting a big hiding in Nigeria, but look, I was pleasantly surprised.
And then during the game, which players stood out to you?
You look at Temba Zwane. To be honest, Temba Zwane, the goal that he scored, if you watch that was like magic. Nigerians were not expecting him to take them on in the 18 area. That was the brilliant goal I've seen in South Africa. But at the same time, the goalkeeper, our goalkeeper, Ronan Williams, you can give me maybe 6 out of 10. You look at him, Toby Mvala. I think, all in all, Kuliso Mudau at the back. The back line, South Africa's back line, we're up against it. But they prove us that Bafana Bafana is on another level at this point.
And then who is Bafana Bafana playing next?
Look, the next game is quite interesting. We are playing against our neighbors Zimbabwe in Bloemfontein. That is on the 11th of June. So, the last time we played Zimbabwe, it was in 2022. We played in Harare, draw, not. They came to South Africa, we beat them 1-0. A surprising package in our group, it's Lesotho, who are leading the group. I've never expected that. But for South Africa, they'll be going to Bloemfontein for the first time since 2010. Yolanda, the 11th of June is the day when we hosted the FIFA World Cup. We can't disappoint this time around. Bafana Bafana need to start qualifying for the World Cup. We need to, it's been long. But in Bloemfontein, with that kind of support, it's going to be intimidating for Zimbabwe. I must tell you. The support that Bafana are going to get in Bloemfontein is going to be amazing. They love football, they live football. And this time around, seriously, we need to bring the A game into this one.
It will be an interesting match indeed. And then having watched the game the past weekend, what do you think is the outlook for the team for the rest of the FIFA qualifiers?
Look, the group is what can I say? You got too many teams. I think it's close to 6. You got Rwanda, you got Lesotho, you got Zimbabwe, South Africa, Nigeria, Benin. It looks great. As long as when you play away, you draw or you collect points there, that's very great for Bafana Bafana. It's only, this is, look, we're still going to play Lesotho. We're still going to play Zimbabwe. Nigeria will be coming home. We just need to collect points. But the outlook for me, it looks positive. I might be wrong, but we still have a long way to go. It's going to be a long marathon. But for me, Bafana Bafana, this time around, they're going to make this country proud.
South Africans are definitely intrigued for the next match. Ben, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Yolanda.
That was Ben Rekotso, our BGTN sports correspondent. In T20 news, South Africa staged a remarkable comeback from an early batting collapse, clinching a 4-wicket win against the Netherlands in their T20 World Cup Group D encounter in New York over the weekend. David Miller's unbeaten 59 runs or 51 deliveries guided the Proteas to victory at the Nassau County International Cricket Stadium, with South Africa reaching 106 for 6 after restricting the Dutch to 103 for 9 in 20 overs. Initially, it seemed the Dutch might repeat their past upsets over South Africa, with the Proteas struggling at 12-4 after 4.3 overs and even plummeting to 3-3 at one point due to the Dutch bowling attack. However, a resilient partnership between Tristan Stubbs and Miller, worth 65 runs for the 5th wicket, put South Africa in a winning position. Despite Stubbs' departure after scoring 33 runs, Miller's outstanding half-century featuring 3 fours and 4 sixes, including a crucial 6 of Bas de Leede in the 19th over, secured victory. Miller acknowledged the Netherlands bowlers' challenge but expressed confidence in the team's performance, particularly crediting the lower-order batsmen for their contribution to the win. And badminton's world number 2, Shiyu Chi, secured his inaugural Indonesia Open title on Sunday after a hard-fought battle against Danish player Anders Antonsen, spanning 3 games. Shi demonstrated his prowess on the courts of Jakarta's Istora Senayan Arena, ultimately prevailing 21-9, 12-21, 21-14 in a 71-minute showdown, claiming victory in the prestigious Super 1000 event. While Shi dominated the first game, Antonsen staged a comeback, pushing the match into a decider. Shi, aged 28, expressed joy at becoming the first Chinese men's single player to win the tournament since the 1980s, setting his sights on Olympic glory in Paris next month. He viewed the Indonesia Open as a vital stepping stone before the Olympics, vowing to give his best efforts to secure the championship. Meanwhile, in the women's singles final, Olympic champion Shen Yufei triumphed over South Korea's An Se-young in a thrilling 3-game encounter. That's your BRICS Plus sports updates for today. See you again tomorrow for more.
"22 Seconds" came about. I've been working on human trafficking stories recently. I've been doing documentaries. It was just like, are we doing enough? It was a campaign that was, let's challenge ourselves, let's get it out there, let's try and reach as much people as possible.
130 people are trafficked all around the world per hour. So every 22 seconds, someone is being trafficked. 22 seconds could be your walk from a school gate inside the school. It could be your walk from your house to the bus station. It's just a short distance.
This campaign is a campaign that is set to raise awareness, to show the severity of this crime that's happening around us. I'm hoping that it will get society to speak about it. It will get communities, governments and organizations to come together and tackle this. I'm hoping that it will get the young girl, the young boy to understand the dangers that we live around.
And we're speaking to schools so that children are also aware of this. Teachers are aware, because also teachers play a vital role into seeing kids that they teach that this child was not like this. The campaign is running for a month, but that's not where our work will end. We will continue campaigning and we will continue moving towards our goal of getting 22 million signatures.
You can share the campaign firstly on social media using the hashtags 22 seconds not for sale, hashtag 22 seconds empower change, because we are empowering change. Please sign the petition. The whole idea also behind the petition is that once we reach 22 million signatures, we will take it to the UN.
It is up to us to raise awareness and show human trafficking that it has no place in our society.
And finally, a delegation led by the Vice President of the Foreign Friendship Association of the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region has visited the United Arab Emirates, where the epic musical performance Xinjiang is a Beautiful Place was showcased in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The event drew diverse audiences of expatriate Chinese, students and foreign spectators. The performance featured a variety of artistic forms including group dance, singing, musical instrument playing and acrobatics. Xinjiang artists portrayed China's national minorities culture and the region's joyful life through unique songs and dances, offering a captivating experience. Attendees expressed deep appreciation for the soul-stirring music and cultural immersion, with many inspired to consider visiting Xinjiang after witnessing the promotional event, fostering cultural exchanges between 2 BRICS Plus nations. And that's today's roundup of BRICS Plus stories. We're back again tomorrow with more. In the meantime, keep up to date by visiting our website or social media.